Good morning, everybody. One of the things I told myself is I was going to handle losses a lot better now than when I coached before. So what you can do, it's a great learning opportunity for your players and your staff, and that's the way we're going to approach it. We'll start over each week. Congratulate Florida State. They jumped on us early with the 2 block punts, interception for the touchdown. Then we have a chance on a 4th and 1 to score, and we don't. They have lower pads and stop us. Then we give them a 5-play, 75-play drive right before the half, which is an absolute killer. But really, really proud of our guys that they regrouped at halftime, and I was wrong. They were ready to play. They were probably a little too cool and comfortable and let Florida State take the first hit. And we couldn't do that. We need to keep their confidence down because they weren't a very confident team coming in, and we gave them great confidence in that first half. And then our guys played an unbelievable second half. What a comeback, had a chance to win and just didn't make the plays down the stretch to win the game, which we need to. So offensively, the things we obviously have to fix are 2 and 11 on third downs and 0 and 3 on fourth down. You're not going to win many games if you do that. One of the turnovers was for a touchdown, so we only had the 1 turnover, but it gave them 7 points. We had lots of drops. We had 4 sacks, so we didn't play well offensively, and still had a chance to win. Javonte Williams, Josh Azudu, Garrett Walston all played really well. Sam Howell's one of the toughest guys I've ever seen. He gets a targeting call every week because people are trying to knock him out of the game, and he just gets back up and goes back to work. So I've never seen a tougher player than him. So I'm really, really proud of him. And I thought the series of the game, really in the second half when we were in a position to win the game, was a tremendous interception by Trey Morrison to end the third quarter. We've got the ball 1st and 10 at the 29. We're moving the ball. Things are going well, and that was a horrible series for us. And then we miss a field goal. And I thought that was probably the difference in the ball game till the last drive, where we have 3 drops. But again, we dug ourselves in a hole. We can't do that. We're not good enough to do that yet, and something that we've got to learn from. Defensively, we missed entirely too many tackles. We missed 19. That's 2 weeks in a row. We haven't tackled well against good offensive players. We lost our eye discipline, as we said, in the first half, and guys are playing man coverage. The quarterback's a good runner, so he's scrambling. We didn't contain him very well, and he's looking downfield, and we're looking at him, and they complete balls, which really, really hurt us. We did that much better the second half. We're still not getting enough turnovers. We're still not getting enough pressure on the quarterback, even though in this game it wasn't a drop-back game. It was more play action or him running. Second half was much better. We did shut them out and had the turnover. And I thought Trey Morrison played great. He's playing great every week, and we've got to get other people to play like he is. But a couple of things that happened, or we had them backed up. It's a 3rd down and 4, and they have the perfect call to the throwback to the tight end with us blitzing Surratt off the edge. So there are a couple opportunities. That's an opportunity to hold them and score. You can't let them get off the goal line. And then I thought we're very, very poor with sudden change. When the punt was blocked early in the game, we go out and they score on the first play. So we've got to step up and do a better job in those areas. Special teams were poor. I was wrong on the first block punt. We absolutely had a guy, just let a guy go. It wasn't on the outside. It wasn't slow operation time. We had a player stand there, and a guy ran in front of him, and we didn't touch him. So it wasn't anything that they did. It was what we did, what we didn't do. And that's coaching. We got to get the guys to know who to get. Our guy just released and ran. And on the second one, it was just we were soft in the shield, and Big Wilson reached over and blocked the punt. So the second one didn't hurt us as much as emotionally. It gives them a lift. But the ball was on their end, and they didn't get points out of it the first one. So it's a tough one for us. And then we missed a field goal that would have put us in a great position starting the fourth quarter. We didn't get any punt returns. We fair caught them all. didn't hold them up very well. And Jonathan Kim continues to kick the ball out of the end zone. That's the only thing we did good on special teams. Officials in the game, I do think that in college football, and I've thought this for a number of years, we ought to have a right for the official with the review, if he sees something that's flagrant, whether it's a player taking an act against another player that he shouldn't, that's missed by the officials, or if there's a game-changing play and the officials just absolutely miss it, I think that guy upstairs should have the right to call down and say that that was holding, that was pass interference, or this young man should be kicked out of the game because of an action. I've always felt that way, and I believe it now. People say, well, it'll slow the game down too much. It won't, because it's only on game-changing plays that officials missed, and they're human. And the human error is going to cost some guys opportunities. So that's something I'd like to see in college football. As far as our top 5 rating, we're ahead of schedule as a team. Our recruiting's going really well. We're playing hard, but we weren't the top 5 team in the country. Now, part of that was because the Big Ten wasn't playing yet. Part of it's because we'd won 2 or 3 games, but I didn't think we handled it well. I thought we were a little comfortable at Florida State instead of confident, and we got hit right in the mouth, and thank goodness we responded to it and came back and still had a chance to win. But I felt like it was a little bit like our response at Wake Forest last year after we'd beaten South Carolina and Miami. We walked in a little cool and then got hit right in the mouth and had to stop that surge and then respond back the second half. And that's something that we've got to do. We've got to learn how to handle that. But really, really proud of the coaches at halftime and the players of their response and the way that they came back and fought. And we've got to make sure that we do not let one game beat us twice. And that's really, really important as coaches. Fans that are going to gripe, the fans that were griping after the 3 wins gripe more when you lose. That's just it. That's who they are. So players have to understand that. Fans that love their team and die with them are going to be disappointed like we are, but they're going to pick them back up and go back to work. And, hey, let's get after NC State. So players have to learn what fan bases are. And that's the same everywhere in the country. So it's just, it's part of it. We've raised expectations. So with that, you have more people that are voicing opinions. We have a month of rival games, which is really, really unusual. We've got NC State at home. We go to Virginia. And then we've got at Duke, and then we've got Wake Forest here. So it'll be really interesting to see if our coaches and our players can get everybody up at the height of their emotion for 4 straight weeks before we get a weekend off, because that's really hard to do. And I do know today those 4 teams are going to play hard against us. So we've got to see if we're ready with our program to play hard against them. Devin Leary, the quarterback at NC State, hurt his leg. He's playing really, really well. We want to hate to see anybody get hurt. These young people that are playing college football are really special, and even more this year with COVID, for them to be out there and working. And so we want to wish Devin the best and hope he has a full and speedy recovery. I think I got out of coaching before because I couldn't handle losing. I hated to see kids get hurt because it was out of their control and they were working so hard. And then when a kid got in trouble and changed their lives over some stupid act, it just really, really bothered me. So those are things that are really, really difficult for coaches handling the young people. NC State's doing really well. I think we've been overrated. I think they've been underrated. They're 4-1. They're on offense. Tim Beck's come in. He was at Nebraska, Ohio State, and I knew him at Texas. And he's done a really good job with their offense. They're physical up front. They're running the ball. They've got 2 outstanding backs. They've got a 6'5" tight end, 6'7". Let's see. Angeline is 6'7", 250, transfer from USC, and he's really, really good. Hockman will be the quarterback probably, and he's a transfer from FSU. They've got tall receivers, so they're doing a great job running the ball and using play action on their offense. And defensively, Dave hired Tony Gibson, who a lot of our guys know from West Virginia. He's running a 3-man front. They're really, really aggressive. They've had 3 of the best goal line stands I've ever seen. One at Pitt, one against Virginia, and one last week against Duke. So they're playing really, really aggressive on defense. McNeil's a 320-pound guy that's on the nose. You got to be strong up the middle. Peyton Wilson and Isaiah Moore are 2 of the best linebackers, probably the 2 best linebackers we've played as a group together. So those guys are really aggressive and should be a tough ball game. And they blocked 2 punts, one against Virginia and one against Duke, so they'll sure be excited about seeing us punt. So the other thing that amazed me is this is the first time since 1993, 27 years that both teams have been rated at the same time. So what a great compliment to the high school coaches and high school players in this state that these 2 programs are back to being good again. And it just highlights high school football in this state, and that's really cool. Questions?
All right, thanks, Coach, for getting us started here. Group, if you have a question, please use the raise hand function here, and we will get to you. Our first question comes from CL Brown. So, CL, please go ahead.
All right, Coach, you kind of mentioned the stretch coming up and how it will be emotionally on the players. What is your approach to kind of managing, coming off of big wins or in this case, coming off a loss and still having to have high emotions getting ready for an opponent that's going to be ready for you?
CL, it's easy to say and it's hard to do. We tell them you've got 24 hours to get rid of the previous game, win or lose. And that's like I said, it's easy to do, but it's easy to say, but hard to do. Don't let a tough loss beat you twice, but don't let a great win beat you the next week. And I did think I was wrong after the game. We played hard in the first half. We didn't play good. And so to do that, what you've got to do is you've got to win games on Tuesday and Wednesday. I got mad at our offense because we were going against our defense in a live drill on Wednesday, and our offense looked really soft to me. And that's the way we looked sometimes during the first half, and that was Wednesday. So I told the guys yesterday, you win or lose games on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's when you have to prepare, and you have to have an edge every day, and you have to be 100% in practice. And if you're not going to do that, I remember before the Wake game last year, I nearly kicked them out of practice because Tuesdays was so bad. So we've got to learn to be who we are, and make sure that we're that every day. And then the games are just the games. The games should be easier than practice. But we've got to go back and establish that this week.
Right. And what will you do to kind of address the tackling, the errors, or I guess in tackling?
All you do is same thing with special teams, same things with the 4 sacks, same things with the drops, is you go back and emphasize all of those things every day in practice. We do tackling drills every day, time after time. We do turnover drills every day. And all you can do is continue to work and do them and hope that it gets better.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, Aaron Baird, go ahead.
Hey, Mac. CL's question sort of feeds into mine a little bit when you talked about being comfortable as opposed to, handling that situation well at Florida State. You said you didn't like the way some things went with practice. Is that something that you have a pretty good sense of during the week all the way up, or about the idea of whether they're handling it well or they're playing comfortable, as you said, or is that something that really more shows itself on game day?
Yeah, I think you can see it during the week. What they do in practice is what they do in the game and how they play. And I was concerned. I was concerned about the first night game. I was concerned about us sitting around all day waiting. I even told them in pregame, if you don't feel the edge, if you don't feel like you're ready to go take a cold shower and wake up. Let's go. But I think, again, we're learning. We haven't been 5 in the country. We haven't been rated in years. So all this is new. And With social media, they're seeing how good they are every minute of every day. And it's hard for me to sit there and tell them, you're not this good. Come on, man. Let's wake up, because you want them to have confidence. And I told them, you're only as good as you play. So if you are the 5th best team in the country and you want to stay there, play better than your opponent Saturday. And I told them yesterday, we obviously don't deserve to stay up in the ratings because we didn't play well enough. And then I told them, I thought we lost this game on Wednesday, and our offense was just about perfect 2 weeks ago. I mean, against Virginia Tech, we dropped 3 passes, and that's it. There nothing else you could say. When that happens in a new program like ours, most of the time they don't come back and play well the next week because they don't have to work as hard because we got this thing, man. We're there. This is done. We're cool. We're better than everybody else. And that's not the case. We have to play with full energy and as good as we can play every week to have a chance to win. We have to. And they don't understand that yet. But we have to. We're not better than anybody if we don't play with all-out energy and urgency and confidence. And I think that's what we learned in this ball game. If we had caught balls at the end of this game, we still win the game. As bad as we played and as many things as we messed up. So we're talented enough. We're good enough when we play good, but we're not good enough if we don't play well. And that's what we've got to understand.
Thanks, Mac.
Thank you.
All right, let's go over to Ross Martin. Ross, go ahead.
Hey, Mac. Y'all gave up only 100 yards rushing in the first 2 games, and then it's been over 500 yards in the last 2 games. How do you make the run defense better? What's going on there on tape, whether it be scheme or personnel that you need to improve on?
Yeah, Ross, Syracuse 2 backs opted out. So they didn't try, and their offensive line was struggling. So that gave us a false impression of ourselves. BC didn't try to run it. We thought they would. They threw it every time. So I think we've got more of an issue of stopping the run. The last 2 weeks is more who we are than the first 2 weeks. It was kind of an outlier. Very honestly, it'd be easy to say, man, we were so tough early. I just think people didn't try to run it. And the last 2 teams have, and you have to stop what Florida State did best. Their quarterback running the ball and their running back running the ball is what they did best, and we didn't stop it. I mean, that's a real concern. So NC State's they've got a really good offensive line, 3 starters back, 2 big backs that are both very, very talented. They're going to line up and try to be physical and run the ball. So we have just got to get better in those areas and tackle. We have 2 linebackers on the quarterback on a 3rd down and 5 in the 4th quarter on the last drive, right in the hole, and we don't make the tackle. So we just got to continue to get better in those areas.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I do think defensively, until we can put more pressure on the passer, until we can force more turnovers and tackle better, we're not going to be very good. We've got to improve immediately in those 3 areas.
Okay, let's go over to Andrew Jones.
Hey, Coach. I think Dez had 5 fair catches on Saturday night. Are fair catches often or always called from the sideline, or is it up to him sometimes? Can you kind of walk me through those 5? If there is a disparity, what is the ratio there, the breakdown rather?
Yeah, they're never called from the sideline. It's always Dazzy's decision, and we thought there was some room there that we didn't take advantage of. So we're going to look closely at that this week.
You said after the game that, especially during that first half, you need somebody to step up and make a play and do something. Daz's ability in punt returns, I would think, is what would be one of those opportunities. So what kind of conversation do you have with him when you talk about, okay, this is when you call the fair catch, this is when you actually take it and find your lane or whatever else it's called and try to get something out of it?
Yeah, Andrew, you can't force them to catch it because then they fumble it and they blame you. So you got to be really smart with what you're doing. But you show them the video. You show him that he had more room than he thought he had during the game. And you try to get him to be aggressive because he is a valuable tool. And I did think we blocked 2 or 3 of those better than they came out. So that's an area where he can be more aggressive when we're looking at it.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's go over to Brendan Marks.
Hey, Mac, thanks for taking the time. I know you mentioned that process of, we have the talent, but it's learning how to win. It's learning how to carry ourselves. It's learning how to compete every week. I'm just curious, when you were here the first time around, how long did that process take? Not necessarily just the accumulation of talent, but the process of getting the guys to believe that they were consistently at that level and not having them being locked in, being sort of a weekly question, I guess.
Yeah, well, the first thing, when I got here before, we were horrible. We were awful. We've got better players now than we had then. You older guys know, oh my gosh. And you older guys were in school then, so that scares me. That tells you how old I really am, except for Art. Art's an old guy like me. So, but we were just bad. And then we were 1 in 10, but we could see we were getting better. We were recruiting so much better. We were playing harder. The first year we were really good on offense and we were awful on defense. You talk about social distancing. That defense in '89 was the best at social distancing there's ever been. We didn't get close to anybody. And then the next year we were better on defense and we were awful on offense. We were awful. So then the third year, but we were playing hard. We were in games and we had to get our victories, small victories, off the field. Did you outrush the other team? Did you have more turnovers? So that had to be a win for us at that time. And then the third year we got Natron Means and we started getting better and we won 6 games. We were 6-4-1. I remember they wouldn't let us go to a bowl game because it was during finals. And I was so upset because I thought, come on, man, this has been hard. We need to get some advantages out of this for these kids and get them to feel good. And then the next year I think we were 7-4. And then after that, we started being really good.
And so in the process of doing that, I guess it's obviously a different talent base you're coming from, but how did they respond over time to the losing and how did you, I guess, what was sort of the timeline for you feeling comfortable with their mindset collectively?
I would say by the third year we expected to win. And usually that's the process that happens. This team responded very well after losses last year. But I thought this game was more like our loss to, our losses. We didn't play well against Wake Forest. We didn't play well against Appalachian State. We played well against Clemson, but we didn't finish it. We didn't finish at Virginia Tech with time and time a chance to win. And we didn't finish at Pittsburgh with a chance to win. So I thought this was more like the Virginia Tech game in the fourth quarter where we came back, we had our chances, and we just didn't finish. And I thought we were at a more of a confidence level than that. But again, I think if you're not as confident, you're not as focused in that fourth quarter. We dropped balls to start the game, and we dropped balls at the end of the game. And we've got good catchers, and they were good throws. So how do you figure that? And we caught balls during the week. So I don't know. That's why coaching's hard. Is everybody sees the mistakes. It's just hard to correct them. All you can do is keep working on them. Thank you, Brenda.
Okay, Art Chansky, go ahead, Art.
Hey, Mac, can you you're the CEO and you're coaching the coaches and the coaches are coaching the players and you're coaching the players. Can you compare how you deal with the coaches directly in meetings, maybe at halftime of a game like this, as compared to how you deal with the players? I know the staff is so important, but I know in the past, you could be pretty tough on your staff. Can you compare how you coach the coaches versus coach the players?
Yeah, Art, I'm really, really hard on the staff every day. I don't think people would think that, but I am. I am very difficult to work for, but I'm fair with them. I'm honest with them. I'm direct with them. I don't embarrass them. I don't talk about it publicly, but I'm very demanding with them and expect them to be that way with the players. I'm demanding with the players in discipline and doing the right things and acting right. And I expect the coaches to coach their players, and I'll help them with them. But if I'm helping too much, then I shouldn't have them here. They should be taking care of their players. And I was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma in '84, I think. And we were number 1 in the country. And we were playing at Kansas, and we had lost our first 2 quarterbacks. And there was a young quarterback we were redshirting named Troy Aikman. It was like the 7th game of the year, and he was pretty good, but he hadn't played any. So we're number 1 or 2 in the country. We go to Kansas. They're awful. Mike Godfrey's coaching them. It's a rainy night. Nobody's there. And we're down 10-7, I think, at halftime. And we have played awful. And I yelled at the team for about 20 minutes, the offensive team, and I said, "You're going to lose this game. You're going to lose the game, man. If you keep this up, you're going to lose the game." And we walked out, and we got beat 33-14. So we get on the plane going home, and I'm sitting next to Coach Switzer, which you shouldn't do, but it probably was by design. Somebody put me next to him, and I said, "Coach, I'm really sorry. We're number 1 in the country. We blew it. We lost the game." And he said, "Yeah, but, you lose your first 2 quarterbacks. It's probably going to happen. But let me tell you something. Those players have great respect for you. And you told them that they were going to lose 3 different times. I heard you. And you convinced them they were going to lose, and they listened to you. So don't ever do that again." So we're playing Kansas State the next week. We're down 7-3 at halftime. We're ahead 7-3. They're awful. And he grabs me leaving the field, and he says, "Hey, best team wins the longer this game goes, right?" I said, "Yes, sir, I got it." So we won 43-7 or 43-3, whatever the score was. So we're at Texas. We're down to Oklahoma State 35-15 at halftime. And I felt just like that the other night. And I had Coach Switzer on my shoulder saying, when things are really bad, be positive. You got to pick everybody up. You don't want to beat them down when they're beaten down. That's when there's blowouts. So what I told the coaches is here's I always ask them, "Phil, what do you got? Jay, what do you think? What do you see?" Because I want to know what they see and what they feel. And then I said, "Okay, we're going to have the biggest comeback in the history of North Carolina football, but you got to convince them. You got to show them how. And here are the reasons we're going to do that." And then with the team, you say, "Hey, didn't play well. First half, didn't make plays." Give them credit. They jumped on us. We had too many mistakes, but we're going to win the game. But we got to start now. You got to start now, and you got to get this thing done. And we came back and beat Oklahoma State that day, 56-35. And I really thought that was going to happen the other night. And that's why I was so disappointed at the end, because we had everything set perfectly on the last drive to win the game. And we just didn't do it. So that's the next step we got to take in our program, or the next steps. Number 1, we can't be comfortable when things are good. That's when, as coaches, we have to keep them on edge. Because when you get relaxed, they're relaxed. When you think things are okay in college sports, that's when you're in trouble. You can't. Now, when you're as talented as a Clemson, like we were at Texas, you can play a bad game and still win. We can't. We can't. We've got to play hard and play well every week. And then the second part of that is have the confidence to know that you're going to win the game, and here's how you're going to win the game. When Trey Morrison intercepted the ball, I knew we were going to win the game. And we didn't score. A great team scores there. We go get points, and we go up. And then the momentum completely shifts, and you take over the fourth quarter, which we've been so dominant in. And we were not dominant offensively in the fourth quarter on Saturday, and that's disappointing.
One follow-up. You came out of that halftime and went on TV and said, "We have the chance to make the greatest comeback in Carolina football history." Where did you get that nugget? Someone, Jeremy or Mark, had to tell you that. I mean, you didn't know that, did you?
No, I just knew it was going to be the biggest in my life at North Carolina. So I didn't know that it was the biggest. And very honestly, I wasn't thinking about nuggets at that time. In fact, Molly McGrath and I worked together at ESPN, and she's a dear friend, and she looked at me like, "Really? Oh my gosh, how embarrassing for you to say that." So I talked to her later on Sunday, and I said, "You looked a little surprised when I said that." She said, "I was shocked the way you had played the first half." I said, "Well, that's if I don't believe it, they can't believe it." And that's what we have to do. I mean, they've got to know that I believe 100% that we can come back and win this game down 31-7. And that's what hurt so bad with the 5-play drive. 24-7, I thought we were okay. We had stunk. We were the best team. We were going to come back and win for sure. 31-7. Come on, man. 5-play drive to score it in the half. That put us in an awful spot. And that's what that last 5 minutes is so important. They scored 21 points in the last 5 minutes of the half. And we still had a chance to win. So we've got a lot of great things out there for us. We got to coach better and we got to play better.
So you didn't know for sure that Bill Dooley and 3 yards in the cloud of dust didn't come back from 27-point down in some game?
No, I had no clue.
You assume that.
That just came out of my mouth. You all will understand. Don't ever believe anything I say at halftime or after the game because I'm clueless. I'm all over the place. I'm so wound up, and like I walked in and said, hey, those guys, they didn't play. We didn't play good. We weren't ready to play. That's not true. I'm watching the video on the way home on the plane, and they're busting their tail, and they're trying. We just messed things up. So I'm sitting there wanting to call you all and say, hey, I was wrong. And then I say, it must have been slow time on our punt because that's the information I got. It must have been outside, our operation slow. It wasn't. We stood there, and a guy ran right by us and blocked the punt. We just invited him. So we can't do those things. But I've got a bad seat. I'm down there at field level, so sometimes I don't see everything. And that's why those post games are hard, because you really don't have a lot of information. And it sounds like coach speak when you say, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Really, you're not. You all had a better seat than I did.
Thanks,
and
man.
you get now you get the advantage of the analyst saying, here's exactly what happened in slow motion. I don't get that till I get on the plane, and then I get it. So I'm kind of lost.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. We really appreciate your time today.
Okay, thank you all. Have a great week.